Hi everyone, I'm Jeremy and this is Yoga with Jeremy. Today we've got a rejuvenating backbending flow. It will require you to engage all of the muscles in your posterior chain, so get ready for that. And before we get started with the practice, I want you to know that I'm conducting real classes over Zoom. So if you would like to join me, head down into the description box below where I'll leave a link to the studio that I'm currently teaching with. Let's get started. And let's start today's practice in downward facing dog. With the hips up high, the heels are reaching for the mat, and we're just paddling out our down dog, bending one knee then the other, swaying the hips from side to side, dropping one shoulder then the other. Anything that you need to feel comfortable in down dog, go ahead and do so. And when you're ready, coming to stillness in downward facing dog. With the hips up high, the heels reaching for the mat, the chest is pressing towards the thighs. Good, and let's roll forward to a plank pose so that the shoulders are stacked over the wrists. With one straight line from the crown of the head down to the heels, keeping the tailbone tucked under, the engagement in the core. And for the first vinyasa for today, we'll take knees, chest and chin. So go ahead dropping the knees on the mat and then placing the chest down between the hands. This first knees, chest and chin, feel free to walk the knees a little bit further back if this gives you space to ground your chest. And the focus is on slowly deepening into a little back bend here with the hips high, making sure that it's comfortable to breathe. Good, and slide to lie flat. Next inhale, let's find a low cobra, peeling the heart off the mat, and the elbows are pulled close to the body so that we find an engagement in the middle and upper spine. Fill the lungs with air. Tuck the toes, push back, downward facing dog. Good, and roll forward to a plank once again. And for the second vinyasa for today, let's start by dropping the knees and then bending the elbows 90 degrees, lower down for a half chaturanga. Elbows at 90, good. And those of you who wish to take a full chaturanga, you can straighten the knees off the mat. Inhale to take a cobra or upward facing dog, your choice, but maybe don't go so deep yet. And then the exhale, we push back for downward facing dog. Left foot forward between the hands for low lunge. Drop the back knee, untuck the toes, lifting the arms up towards the ceiling. Sinking the hips forward and down here, staying here to breathe in low lunge for 5. 4, maybe crawling the left foot slightly further forward. 3, 2, tuck the back toes, and 1. Let's lift the back knee off, coming to a high lunge. Keep straightening that back knee here so the right kneecaps are being pulled up. And as we're pressing into the right toes so that the heel is pointing up towards the ceiling. 5. Good. 4, an engagement in the glutes. 3, this helps us find the opening in the hip flexor at the front. 2, sweep the arms behind the back. And 1, roll the shoulders up and back. Let's bow forward on the inside of the left thigh. The crown of the head coming closer towards the mat. Staying here to breathe, the fists a little further from the body. 5. Good, a little bit lower down. 4. 3. 2, the body stays exactly where it is. Let's release the hands. 1, place the hands down on the inside of the left foot. So let's come into a lizard pose, guiding the left foot slightly further towards the left side of the mat. Drop the back knee and untuck the toes. Here in this beautiful lizard pose, wiggling the hips out. And if it's comfortable for you, you can start to come down onto your forearms. With the option to stay on your hands, it's perfectly fine. The right forearm stays on the mat, the left hand starts to reach back. And let's bend the back knee, catching onto the back foot or ankle. Squeezing the heel in close to the butt. And we're sinking the hips forward and down here in this beautiful pose. Good, stretching into that right hip flexor a little bit more. Allow the hip to come down closer to the mat. The heel comes so close to the butt. Last 4, 3, 2, good. Still catching onto the foot. 1, let's kick the foot away from the body so that the chest opens up slightly to the side. Find this beautiful back bend here, with the body being pulled open by that foot that's kicking away from the body. Chest is proud. 5, 4, nice and strong. 3, 2, gradually. 1, let's come back to center as you release the foot. Good, we come up onto our hands. Both hands on the inside of the left foot. Listen very carefully here. Let's tuck the back toes and lift the back knee off. Good. From this position, the left foot does not touch the mat anymore. Let's lift the left foot off and float the left foot all the way to the back, pointing the toes. Good. Let's come into an up dog variation. So drop the hips lower towards the mat, gazing up, shoulders away from the ears, rolled back, then bend the left knee so that the toes come in close to the butt. Squeeze the heel closer to the butt and imagine foot coming closer to head, head coming closer to foot. This variation of a tiger pose in up dog. Last 4, 3, 2, good. Push back. 1, downward facing dog. With the hips up high, left foot can touch down on the mat once again. Right foot forward between the hands for low lunge. Drop the back knee, untuck the toes, lifting the arms up towards the ceiling. Sinking the hips forward and down here. Stay here to breathe for 5. Good, maybe crawl the right foot further forward. 4, 3, 2, nice. And tuck the back toes. 1, let's lift the back knee off, straightening up into that high lunge. Stay to breathe. 5, good. Biceps close to the ears. 4, allow the ribs to flare out here is okay. 3, today it's a back bending class. 2, engagement in the glutes. Good, sweep the arms behind the back. And 1, let's bow forward on the inside of the right thigh, the crown of the head coming closer to the mat. Remember, the shoulder shouldn't be touching the right thigh here, so the fists are coming further away from the body. 5, 4, so much of the weight being taken by the right leg here. 3, good, body does not move. 2, releasing the arms. 1, place the hands down on the inside of the right foot. Wiggle the foot to the outside edge of the mat. And drop the back knee, untucking the toes. Go ahead and shake the hips out here. Here in this lizard pose, getting ready to go a little bit deeper into lizard. And with the option of coming down onto your forearms. Now the left forearm or hand stays on the mat. Right hand now reaching back. Bend the back knee, catching onto the foot or ankle. Let's squeeze the heel in close to the butt. Pull it all the way in and sinking the hips forward and down. Stay here to breathe. 5, 4, good, a little bit deeper. 3, 2, remain holding onto the foot. 1, let's kick the foot away from the body. Allow the chest to open up to the side here. Stay and breathe. 5, good, and if you kick deep enough. 4, for some of you maybe the toes can even touch the mat. 3, don't worry if it doesn't though. 2, good, and 1, let's come back to center, releasing the foot. And place the hands down on the inside of the right foot. Come here into an active lizard as you tuck the back toes, lifting the back knee off. From this position now the right foot no longer touches the mat, so float the right foot off, send it all the way to the back, floating and pointing the toes. And let's take an up dog variation, sinking the hips closer to the mat, lifting the gaze, shoulders up and back. Still the right foot is floating, then bend the right knee, toe coming closer towards the head, head coming closer towards the toes. Stay for 5, 4, 3, squeezing it nice and close. 2, good, and push back. 1, let's find downward facing dog. Wonderful practice. Paddling it out, Take a moment here. And left leg up towards the ceiling for three-legged dog. Let's open up the hips, stacking left hip over right hip. Bending the left knee, the heel coming closer to the butt. Good, in this beautiful scorpion tail. And from this scorpion tail, let's slowly and with control drop the left foot down behind us, coming into a wild thing pose. The foot touching down, stay on the left tippy toes, lift up through the heart and the hips. The left hand is reaching forward to the front of the mat. Good, stay for 5. 4, hips higher, heart more open. 3, 2, and we flip back into three-legged dog. 1. From three-legged dog, left knee into the nose, crunch it forward. Set the left foot forward between the hands for high lunge, rising all the way up, lift the hands up. Good. Here in this high lunge, let's open up for cactus arms, squeezing the shoulder blades close to each other, shining the chest 45 degrees up. Stay here to breathe. 5. Good. Gazing up here. 4, 3, 2, and next exhale, 1. Let's place the hands down at the front of the mat and the right foot steps forward. Good, and let's come down onto our knees. So let's drop the knees down and with the hips lifted off the heels. We're here in a kneeling position, toes tucked under, getting ready for Camel Pose. Camel Pose, the hands supporting the lower back, pinkies close to each other. Roll the shoulders up and back, the elbows squeezed close to each other. Let's start to send the hips forward, lifting the heart up at the same time. And the first option to stay right here is perfectly fine in this supported camel pose. Otherwise, left hand starts to reach back, right hand reaching back, catching onto the heels. Once you've caught onto the heels, make sure to squeeze the glutes, send the hips more forward, heart more up here in camel pose. 5, 4, 3, 2, good, and 1. Gradually releasing exactly the same way we came. And let's place the hands down at the front of the mat, step back, and take one vinyasa to come to downward facing dog. Right leg up for three-legged dog. Open up the hips, stacking right hip over left hip, squeezing the heel close to the butt, lifting the knee nice and high. Good, and slowly and with control, let's drop the foot down behind us to find wild thing. The toes touching down, let's lift up through the heart and the hips, right hand is reaching forward towards the front of the mat. Open up here, 5, good, proud chest. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Flipping back, let's take three-legged dog. From three-legged dog, next exhale, knee to nose, crunch the shoulders over the wrists, no sound, placing the right foot forward between the hands, high lunge, lift the arms up towards the ceiling. Make sure we're set up in the high lunge, so make sure that the hips are squared towards the front of the mat and the left knee is totally straight. Let's take cactus arms, open up the arms here 90 degrees, squeeze the shoulder blades together, shine the chest 45 degrees up here. We should feel as if we are trying to balance a glass of water on the collarbones. Stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, good. Next exhale, 1. Let's take the hands forward and down onto the mat. Step the left foot forward this time. And we come down onto our knees once again. Get ready for Camel Pose. This time the option of either keeping the toes tucked under, or if you want to go deeper, you can untuck the toes. Camel Pose, hands supporting the lower back. Pinkies close to each other, roll the shoulders up and back. Send the hips forward, the heart up. And then start to maybe take the left hand down, reaching for the heel, right hand down, reaching for the heel. And once you're here in this camel, hips more forward, heart more up, stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, good, and 1. Let's release the same way we came. Placing the hands down at the front of the mat, step back and taking 1 vinyasa to come to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, send the shoulders over the wrists for plank pose. And dropping knees, chest and chin onto the mat. Here in knees, chest and chin, we're going to start to work to go deeper. Walk the knees a little bit further forward, but make sure that at all times the chest remains grounded here. Nice. And from this position, left leg extended up towards the ceiling, pointing the toes. And maybe bending left knee, we squeeze the heel close to the butt. Stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, good. Let's switch sides. 1, set the left knee down onto the mat. Right leg lifting up towards the ceiling, bending the knee, squeezing the heel close to the butt. Stay here to breathe for 5, knee pointing up, 4, 3, 2, this is a half scorpion, and 1. Let's release and place the knees on the mat and slide to lie flat. Keep the hands underneath the shoulders. Good. Let's slowly roll up bit by bit, inch by inch. So let's roll the shoulders up and back, lift the chest just a little bit off the mat. And slightly higher up, roll the shoulders up and back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Slightly higher up still, roll the shoulders up and back. Good, we're starting to almost gaze forward here. Slightly higher up, roll the shoulders up and back. And from here, maybe coming up onto fingertips, walk the fingertips a little further back. We're getting ready for King Cobra pose. If your feet would like to separate a little bit wider, just a little bit, it's perfectly okay. Then, bend the knees, overlapping the big toes, roll the shoulder blades up and back one last time. As you start to gaze up, walk the hands a little further back, squeeze the heels in close to the butt, toes pointing at the head, head reaching for the toes. If the hips lift off, squeeze the glutes to send the hips down. Stay for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's gradually release. Good, and come all the way down onto the mat, lying face first. With the hands under the shoulders now, let's come up into a tabletop position. Getting ready to release from the practice. Left hand lifting up towards the ceiling on the inhale, gazing up. Next exhale, thread the arm underneath the body, placing the left shoulder on the mat. We're taking this slight twist here just to relax the muscles in the back. And gradually release, coming back up to tabletop position. Next inhale, right hand lifting up towards the ceiling, gazing up, and thread it underneath the body, placing the right shoulder on the mat, right side of the face on the mat. And let's release to come back up to tabletop position. And from tabletop position, step the left foot and right foot forward to the front of the mat. Keep the feet hip width apart, getting ready for a Ragdoll Pose. So holding on to opposite elbows, leaning slightly further forward onto the toes, swaying left and right, maybe bobbing up and down. And gradually let's release the hands and start to roll the body up vertebra by vertebra, slowly coming up. And the last thing that comes up is the head. Stay here for a moment to allow the blood to drain from the head. And we finish today's practice here in Tadasana. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the practice, and I'll see you soon. Bye!